Israel is lobbying the United States to keep Syria weak and decentralised, including by letting Russia keep its military bases there to counter Turkey's growing influence in the country, for sources familiar with the effort said. According to the new Arab media outlet, Turkey's often fraught ties with Israel have come under severe strain during the deadly Gaza war, and Israeli officials have told Washington that Syria's new rulers, who are backed by Ankara, pose a threat to Israel's borders, the sources said. The lobbying points to a concerted Israeli campaign to influence U.S. policy at a critical juncture for Syria, as the current interim government who ousted Bashar al-Assad try to stabilize the fractured state and get Washington to lift punishing sanctions. Israel communicated its views to top U.S. officials during meetings in Washington in February and subsequent meetings in Israel with U.S. congressional representatives, 3 U.S. sources and another person familiar with the contact said. The main points were also circulated to some senior U.S. officials in an Israeli white paper, 2 of the sources said. All the sources spoke on condition of anonymity due to diplomatic sensitivities. Israel's big fear is that Turkey comes in and protects this new Syrian Islamist order, which then ends up being a base for Hamas and other militants, said Aaron Lund, a fellow at US-based think tank Century International. It was not clear to what extent US President Donald Trump's administration is considering adopting Israel's proposals, the sources said. It has said little about Syria, leaving uncertainty over both the future of the sanctions and whether U.S. forces deployed in the northeast will remain. Lund said Israel had a good chance of influencing U.S. thinking, describing the new administration as wildly pro-Israeli. Syria is barely even on Trump's radar now. It's low priority, and there's a policy void to fill, he said. Israel has publicly declared its mistrust of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the rebel group that led the campaign that toppled Assad and which emerged from a group that was affiliated to al-Qaeda until it cut ties in 2016. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday that Israel will not tolerate the presence in southern Syria of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or any other forces affiliated with the new rulers, and demanded the territory be demilitarized. As reported, the Ukrainian president arrived in the United States to sign a minerals agreement. After a tense meeting with Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, he left the White House early. The politicians clashed over their approaches to a peaceful settlement of the war. Trump accused Zelensky of disrespecting the United States and said the Ukrainian leader was not ready for peace. As a result, the meeting was interrupted, the planned joint press conference was cancelled, and the agreement on the joint development of Ukrainian mineral resources was not signed. World reacts to the dispute between Trump and Zelensky. It seems that world leaders support Zelensky. Ukraine, you'll never walk alone, Gitanas Nausėda, the president of Lithuania, wrote on social media. President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen stated that Zelensky's dignity honors the bravery of the Ukrainian people. Your dignity honors the bravery of the Ukrainian people. Be strong, be brave, be fearless. You are never alone, dear Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. We will continue working with you for a just and lasting peace, she claimed. German election winner and likely next Chancellor Friedrich Merz shares her stance, saying, "We stand with Ukraine in good and in testing times. We must never confuse aggressor and victim in this terrible war," he added. Germany, together with our European allies, stands united next to Ukraine, and against Russian aggression, wrote Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock. No one wants peace more than the citizens of Ukraine. That is why we are working together to find a way to a lasting and just peace. Ukraine can rely on Germany and on Europe, wrote Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Even if Britain is the only country in the world that supports Ukraine, we must continue to support them. They are on the front line of our defense. Their sons and daughters are fighting and dying for our freedom. We should be grateful to them, Foreign Secretary James cleverly wrote. The media also writes that British Prime Minister Keir Starmer expressed his unwavering support for Ukraine. And Larry the Cat, who lives in the residence of the British Prime Minister, wrote, "Winston Churchill would be proud of you, Vladimir. Russia invaded Ukraine illegally and without justification. For 3 years now, Ukrainians have fought with courage and resilience. Their fight for democracy, freedom, and sovereignty is a fight that matters to us all. Canada will continue to stand with Ukraine and Ukrainians in achieving a just and lasting peace," Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau wrote. "Dear Volodymyr Zelensky, Denmark proudly stands with Ukraine and the Ukrainian people," said Prime Minister of Denmark Mette Frederiksen. "I just spoke with my dear Ukrainian friend and colleague Andriy Sybiha. I reaffirmed my full support for Ukraine, whatever it costs and however long it takes," Foreign Minister of Netherlands Casper Veldkamp. "We will strengthen our support to Ukraine so that it can continue to resist the aggressor. Today it has become clear that the free world needs a new leader. It is up to us, Europeans, to accept this challenge," said EU Foreign Minister Kaja Kallas. The controversial Oval Office meeting between US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday has triggered strong reaction from Western leaders and politicians. Following the tense meeting in which Trump shouted at Zelensky, accused him of disrespecting the US, Democratic Senator Adam Schiff wrote on X, "A hero and a coward are meeting in the Oval Office today. And when the meeting is over, the hero will return home to Ukraine." Polish Prime Minister Tusk voiced support for the Ukrainian leader, saying, "Dear Zelensky, dear Ukrainian friends, you are not alone," Tusk wrote on X social media platform. French President Macron reminded that Russia is an invader and Ukraine is a victim. Spain also voiced support for Zelensky. "Ukraine, Spain is with you," wrote Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez in his X account. Maya Sandu, the president of Moldova and Ukraine's neighbor and strong supporter in the war with Russia, said while commenting on Trump-Zelensky meeting that, "The truth is simple. Russia attacked Ukraine. Russia is the aggressor. Ukraine is defending its and our freedom. We are with Ukraine." Former EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell was among those expressing his shock at Trump's handling of the meeting with Zelensky. Trump and Vance put on a disgraceful show. "I am ashamed of your behavior. The United States deserves better." He stressed that the free world must support Ukraine. "I am looking forward to the meeting between Trump and Putin, where they will respond to the Russian dictator," former U.S. Ambassador to Russia Michael McFaul said while commenting on the Oval meeting. "The scenes from the White House are shocking. How can you stab in the back the president of the occupied president of a country? Free Europe will not betray Ukraine," German politician, deputy leader of the CDU party Johann Wadefuhl wrote on X.